Chapter 6, Managing Your Emotions Through Breathing. Since our emotions are physical, breathing serves as an excellent technique that helps the physical body manage the emotions that arise within us. Breathing is very much connected to emotions and is a very simple technique that is accessible to all of us at any time. Breathing is connected to our emotional states. It is our main tool to act on our emotions at the moment. Through breath, we bring more energy and oxygen to the body. These subtle changes in the body represent significant functional changes. Simply put, in a few minutes of breathing exercise, we change the chemistry of our body and thus our emotions. Each emotion corresponds to a physical state and a breathing rhythm. Let's take fear as an example. First, our heartbeat accelerates, breathing speeds up, and the body adapts to this alert. Our muscles contract, our pupils dilate, everything in our body is organized to defend itself. Stress, surprise, joy, sadness, anger, every emotion changes the way we breathe and our entire physiological state, but the reverse is also true. It is a great power to understand this. Many basic breathing techniques influence our physical, emotional, and mental state, depending on the context. Deep breathing allows us to regain a state of stability and neutrality. As for the techniques of rapid breathing, they provide a releasing effect that helps to sublimate states of anxiety, aggressiveness, or fear. To practice deep breathing, you need to use all your lung capacity. You will use the lower abdominal, middle, and thoracic parts of your body during this exercise. While breathing in through the nostrils, the abdomen must be projected outwards, then the rib cage is expanding to the sides, and finally, the chest moves upwards. This allows the diaphragm to be lowered, and the rib cage to expand. The lungs are then filled with air. Keep the air in the lungs for a few moments, and then exhale. During the exhale, release the air in the opposite direction, chest, rib cage, and abdomen. Practice several times a day, until deep breathing becomes automatic and natural. Deep breathing significantly increases our level of energy and vitality in daily life. You can use this extra energy to manage your emotions better when needed. In a moment of stress or intense emotion, you can also apply this exercise and count, in your head or out loud, at the same time for inspiration, retention with full lungs, and expiration. You are counting 4 seconds to inhale completely, 4 seconds with keeping the air in the lungs, 4 seconds to exhaling. Using numbers to count will take you out of the feeling and back into a calmer and more rational state. Chapter 7, Techniques to Feel at Peace. When your life is chaotic, there is a part of us that wants to find peace beyond all the chaos and distractions in our lives. We want to escape from all this or take control to create order out of disorder. We want calm, and we want peace. But this kind of search for eliminating chaos and stress is usually not possible unless we go to the mountains and live in a monastery. So what can you do? The answer is to find calm and peace within the midst of the difficulties encountered. One way to find peace is to try meditation. Find the time and space where you can sit quietly for a minute or two, and you can experience this now even during your commute or at work. Sit in a position where you feel comfortable. First, do a body scan. What sensations can you notice? Is your posture straight and relaxed? Then check your breathing. Is your breathing relaxed? Keep your awareness on your breathing for a few moments. Next, shift your awareness to the whole room, including yourself in the room. Be aware of the environment around you while keeping your eyes open. You become aware of all sensations without labeling them. Do not judge anything, do not fixate on anything in particular, just observe. In each of these steps, if your mind begins to wander in thoughts, notice it without judgment. Then, gently return your awareness to the present moment, or of your breath. If you can relax in this observation state, come back to observing when you wander. Try it for a minute, and see if you can let go. Become aware that you don't have to be involved in everything in your mind. You can operate in a way that it is almost like you are watching a movie or a play where you are an actor. What I have found is that in those moments when you can do it, it is very calming. This is the feeling you can have if you stay in a state of observation with an open consciousness, with your sense of being connected to everything. Stay in that space of stillness as long as you can or want to. If you can get a glimpse of this feeling of calm or in peace in the above meditation, then you can go back to that at any time you choose to do so. In a moment of feeling stressed, you can take a break and regain that sense of stillness. During an argument or in the noise of traffic, you can rest by meditating, by returning to this place of calm. Be mindful that at any time of the day, you can access it. When you observe an emotion that triggered a stress feeling, you are stressed and feel a sense of chaos, go back to that place of stillness. It only takes a couple of minutes. Let go of your sense of self, just by being part of everything around you. Reconnect to the inner stillness. Find a feeling of love and compassion for all the parts that suffer, yourself included, but also for others. Then, you can continue to do what you need to do at this time by carrying out your daily tasks but with a sense of stillness during the chaos. Be in connection with the infinite all around you, and experience a sense of peace as you take action. There is no need to walk away from chaos. It's just a movement that you need to learn to live with. Every difficulty is an opportunity to find growth and master your emotions. Chapter 8, Developing Emotional Intelligence. Research and books like the one by the author Daniel Goleman highlight new sets of questions about intelligence. Not only is there an intelligence related to subject and expertise, but also the intelligence of self-awareness of our emotions. Emotional intelligence is the ability that we have to manage, understand, and conduct our emotions. It helps us not only to improve our quality of life but also to develop and have better, more respectful, and understanding relationships with others. There are many ways to develop your emotional intelligence. Here are a few examples. Stop judging. We all tend to judge people based on our ideologies or moral codes. In this way, we consider those who stray from our patterns of thinking to be at best inappropriate, and worst amoral. People are different, and this is where the beauty of being human lies. Empathy is essential. Remember that you cannot judge anyone without first putting yourself in their shoes. Learning to free our thoughts from the duality of good and bad helps us to have a richer vision of the people around us and our feelings. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. We all have strengths and weaknesses. What is interesting is that each strength is associated with weakness and each weakness with a strength. Choose which extreme you want to pay attention to. Use your strengths and learn from your weaknesses. Be assertive. Assertiveness is the most effective way to manage conflict. Do not confuse it with passivity or avoidance. Assertiveness is a way of life that you can put into practice to handle confrontation. Learn to say no and set your priorities. Express your emotions. That sounds easy to understand, but it is perhaps the aspect where people are most mistaken. Expressing your emotions doesn't mean being unpleasant or discredited with others. It's about being able to express them constructively, both positive and negative. The majority of relationships fail because of the inability to healthily expressing emotions. By learning to recognize and express our emotions, we develop our skills and abilities. That way, emotional intelligence can help us succeed. Our emotions send us bodily signals when we experience them. Emotional intelligence allows us to detect them and become aware of what is happening inside us when we experience a strong emotion. Emotional intelligence is to understand what is going on inside us. In some ways, it allows us to restore appeasement once we are aware of it. Chapter 9, Achieving a deeper understanding of your emotions. As you have seen in previous chapters, emotions are significant in understanding who we are and what our body is trying to communicate. With practice, you can become very agile at understanding those messages, change your ways to improve your life and maintain a peaceful state. When emotions are intense, we have the impression that our behavior is stronger than we are. It indeed happens that when faced with certain situations, the brain goes off, and it's the emotions and feelings that take precedence over logic. Most of the time, the result is not pleasant to see either for the other person or oneself. But is it inevitable? What if it was possible to manage 100% of our reactions, emotions, and thoughts? It is possible to listen to yourself, to respect yourself, to be in harmony with yourself, and therefore with others in all situations. The key to living in harmony lies in knowing yourself. There are emotional wounds that, at first glance, considerably weaken our personality, and even more so when they are not conscious. When we lack self-awareness, our defects, faults, wounds, and weaknesses become daily limitations. And the worse is when they are unconscious, they become an invisible and impassable barrier, set up by our mind. As a result, our behavior seems automatic and uncontrollable. The good news is that we can grow through our experiences. Our personality is built up day by day through logical conclusions drawn by our minds from everyday situations. If the judgment is positive, then the experience will be an asset. If the experience is perceived as negative trauma, fear, emotional shock, the experience will be considered as a wound and, initially, as a limitation. And then it will be integrated into our behavior as something normal. Since our mind learns something new every day, it can learn to transform negative events into an asset. You can go over the limits that your mind placed on you to move forward and build a peaceful life. According to Lise Bourbeau, a world-renowned therapist, 5 major emotional wounds condition us. These wounds are mostly unconscious wounds that have plagued you since childhood. When these wounds are activated, you protect yourself by creating a persona, so you don't feel the emotional wounds. That persona leads to behaviors and attitudes that prevent you from being yourself and affect your relationships. We all suffer at least 2 wounds. However, there is one in particular that has marked us more than the others. Becoming aware of our main wound helps us to begin the work of healing. The ultimate goal is to free yourself from the grip of the wound so that you can finally be yourself. The 5 emotional wounds are rejection, abandonment, humiliation, injustice, and betrayal. Rejection is the act of ignoring or pushing someone or a situation away so that you no longer have them in your life or at your side. The mantra in the life of a person who has the emotional wound of rejection is, "I didn't feel accepted, wanted, pampered and loved." Their limiting beliefs lie in the feeling that they don't have the right to live their life. They have a deep belief, often unconscious, that well-being and pleasure are impossible and forbidden and that others can't love them. Key emotions connected to that wound are fear and sadness. Abandonment is not wanting to take care of someone or a situation. The mantra in the life of a person who has the abandonment wound is, "I didn't feel listened to, supported, understood, or emotionally surrounded." Their limiting belief is that they can't be independent, they need others to exist. They can't see themselves achieving something on their own. The emotion connected to that wound is sadness and a sense of being empty. Humiliation is the act of demeaning, ridiculing, and subduing someone. The mantra in the life of someone who has the humiliation wound is, "I felt bullied in my desires and limited in my need for freedom. I am not allowed to have fun." They usually nurture the limiting belief that they are not worthy, that they don't deserve to be happy and that they aren't a beautiful being. They tend to choose, unconsciously, to be unhappy in life, which is why they can have self-destructive behaviors. The emotions connected to that wound are disgust, contempt, guilt, and shame. Injustice is feeling undervalued, unappreciated, and not respected for what it is worth. People who have the injustice wound believe they are not getting what they deserve, and their life mantra is, "I lacked everything emotionally. My parents, friends, or people, in general, are insensitive and cold." It's not fair. People with the injustice would have the limiting belief that they have to be perfect to be loved. They also see emotions as something bad. They often embody the victim mindset where nothing is their fault, they feel they don't belong and that the world doesn't allow them to be themselves. Recurring emotions with the injustice wound are anger, contempt, disgust, criticism, and jealousy. Betrayal is the act of not being loyal to someone or a cause. Those who experience the betrayal wound have the following life mantra: "My expectations were not met, I was lied to, my trust was betrayed, I was used." They feed the limiting belief that they cannot trust anyone, and they are unable to be attached to someone because commitment hurts too much. Being vulnerable is a weakness for them. The emotion mostly experiences by those who have the betrayal wounds are anger, contempt, mistrust, alertness, impatience. If you don't dig deep to heal those wounds, you will attract the same situations and systematically reproduce the same attitudes and behavioral patterns in your life that feed your wounds. The goal is to heal these wounds so that you can grow and evolve. Healing lies in looking for the "how do I get better" rather than the "why do I feel bad?" The strength of the "how" is to transform and move forward. Understanding our experiences is only a matter of personal interpretation. Here are a few suggestions for healing each wound. Rejection: your deep needs are to belong, to exist, and to love. The solution is to confront your reality by accepting and embracing your weaknesses and qualities. You can heal that wound by learning to express self-love. Start by telling yourself, "I love you," daily. Learn to say thank you when you receive compliments and compliment yourself for your good deeds. Abandonment: your deep needs are attention, to exist, and to love. The solution for that wound is to become autonomous. You have to discover your abilities to heal yourself and live by yourself. You need to acquire the new belief that connecting with others is no longer a necessity, but merely a possibility. You can heal that wound by learning to trust yourself and be your biggest fan. Become proud of yourself by recognizing the daily things you do well and love yourself for who you are. You can also learn to tell yourself, "I love you," daily. Humiliation, your deep needs of freedom and independence. The solution to healing the humiliation wound would be to improve self-esteem by rediscovering that every being is an extraordinary person. We all have the right to create our happiness for ourselves. You can heal that aspect of you by encouraging and congratulating yourself every day for who you are and everything you do. Injustice, your deep needs of freedom, intuition, emotion, and being yourself. The solution to healing the injustice wound is flexibility. You need to learn to open yourself up to the world without needing to suffer or create tension. Trust that everything will go well. You can heal that wound by learning to silence your inner critic, become more positive, and express pride toward whom you are. Learn to reconnect with your intuition and emotions. Betrayal, your deepest needs are to be self-confident and free. The solution to the betrayal wound is to learn to let go. Accept where you are, respect who you are, and learn to listen to yourself. You can heal the betrayal wound by learning to trust yourself and be proud of who you are. Know that every human being in his or her life has experienced every wound, at least once, in their life. Generally, we are deeply affected by 2 to 3 wounds. The wound may have been triggered by a single event, or by a compilation of experiences. Although, be aware that you can heal those wounds if you are up for it. Here are a few steps to do so. Step 1. The healing must be a personal commitment of you with yourself. If there are constraints and obligations, it will not work. Step 2. Put your ego aside and accept that these wounds are part of you. They will open the door to healing. It is completely normal and human to have emotional wounds, which can be conscious and unconscious. The human is imperfect. Step 3. Take a few minutes to review the 5 wounds. Listen to your emotions, your feelings, and your reactions. Your thoughts will not help you. It is your heart that knows what is right and good for you. Otherwise, I invite you to observe your physical body, which is generally the first shield that a human being uses. Step 4. Forgive and accept that you had those experiences. To better move forward and evolve, be grateful for your past. Take responsibility for it and choose to let go of your role as a victim. Become a leader in your own life. Step 5. Choose to move away from judging your past and all the negative or traumatic situations you've experienced. Choose to learn from those lessons. Let go of the conscious and unconscious emotions related to your past. Take a step back to get a new perspective on your experience. Learn the lessons from your experience. Choose to close the wound and move forward. Savor your healing to build a future even better than your present. You can do the same for all your wounds. Chapter 10. Redesigning your life to eliminate anxiety. Stress is likely the biggest culprit that causes individuals to experience anxiety. In this chapter, you will learn critical things you can add to your daily routine to eliminate stress and anxiety from your life. Get moving. Physical activity is very beneficial for mental health and emotional harmony. In times of stress, exercise helps to channel the adrenaline released into the body. Many people hit the gym when they feel stressed and improve wellness. Besides, physical activity releases serotonin and endorphins, which contributes to a sense of well-being. Doing cardio is great, but even less intense activity, like walking, can make a big difference in your emotions. Enjoy a good night's sleep. While exercising is important, sleeping is essential. A lack of sleep rarely attracts peaceful days unless you can sleep all day. Besides, a good night's sleep can contribute to a lot of aspects that improve our well-being. Tiredness makes you more vulnerable to stress because it generally increases adrenaline levels. If you get more rest, you improve your productivity. Getting enough sleep is critical to performance and emotional balance. In return, it helps you better manage stress. Meditation has become increasingly popular in recent years. People are using it not only to reduce stress but also to improve concentration and increase performance. Meditation gives you the ability to free your mind from past thoughts and future worries. It helps you focus on the present moment, as well as on your breath. It can clarify your thoughts and reduce your stress while allowing you to find peace within a chaotic world. Surrender. Stress is often accompanied by a feeling of lack of control and powerlessness. Finding a way to exercise letting go of the situation you can't control can help, but it's not always possible. For example, you may not be able to let go of deadlines at work. In these cases, the control that you have is acceptance. You can choose to accept that you cannot control the situation but also acknowledge that stress won't change the situation. Then the control you have is your reaction to the situation. By doing so, you'll gain confidence in your ability to manage challenges and maintain a positive attitude. You will become more resilient. Have fun. Laughing always does well. The body releases endorphins, just like during physical activity. Laughter also reduces anxiety. A simple smile can also be very beneficial to your health. Even when forced, it can provoke positive emotions in a stressful situation. Find ways to bring more fun and play in your life. Children are very good at teaching us how to play, and it might not be a bad idea to spend more time with them. Socialize when things go wrong. It's reassuring to know that it's normal and that we are not going through it alone. This comfort can be found by talking to people about different aspects of life. Spending time with some people, even virtually, can contribute to your happiness, and a familiar voice can stimulate the secretion of oxytocin, the love hormone. Keep a journal. A journal is a place where we can write all our thoughts, concerns, feelings that are occupying our mind space. Most people write down their apprehensions in it before they go to bed to clear their minds. Writing your toughs in your journal will make your worries seem less serious. It's better to express your thoughts than to dwell on them. You can also look back on your day and write in your journal the things you enjoyed doing or the things for which you feel grateful. This daily exercise can help you focus on the positive aspects of your life while releasing the things that you no longer want in your mind. The act of writing in a journal can be very healing and serve a great purpose in reducing our anxiety and stress. All of these ideas have one thing in common: they will help you step back from reacting to emotions and redirect your mind into a more positive way to express them. Using these ideas in your daily life can prevent stress from building up and eliminate anxiety forever. You will become more resilient to challenges and acquire more confidence in managing your life when it's chaotic around you. Conclusion: as anxiety and stress are often referred to as the illness of the 21st century, there are now more and more research and solutions becoming available to us. As you have seen in this book, it is possible to eliminate anxiety from your life. It might take a long time, but with consistency, determination, and patience, you can live a life that is peaceful and balanced. It is essential to identify the causes of your anxiety to heal the root of the problem. Rather than developing strategies to cope with anxiety, you can try to reduce it, better to eradicate it, by attacking it directly at the source, as this book has taught you. Don't forget the power of optimism, and there is always a bright side to a situation. It's up to you to find it and make an effort to look at events from a learning perspective and adopt a positive attitude. While this book is full of ideas and techniques, learn to be patient with yourself, and try one thing at a time. That way, you will avoid unnecessary stress and pressure. Stay focused and avoid being distracted from your goal. The risk of taking on too many techniques at once is that you will be dispersed. And it will stop you from making any progress. Know that you can't change overnight and that you can always ask for help from experts if you feel that the task at hand is too big for just one person. It is not a weakness to ask for help, and actually, it takes a lot of courage to admit that we can't do everything by ourselves. By becoming more familiar with yourself, mind, body, and spirit, you will acquire new skills and knowledge that will allow you to flourish. The more you know yourself, the easier it becomes to master your emotions and embrace them in a way that you can understand how to heal them. Never forget that emotions are not good or bad, they are neutral and serve the purpose of informing us of something important that needs to be addressed or healed. Emotions can become the compass in your life that leads you to a peaceful, harmonious, and wonderful life. Just like any journey, it can be long and painful, or it can be an experience where we enjoy and appreciate every moment of it. Learn to see any obstacles as an opportunity for growth. That is when you will understand that it's the journey that matters and not the destination. You will be in a better position to embrace the journey and completely forget about the destination.